Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this exciting panel discussion in the banking and financial space. Truly a pleasure to have each one of you here, and I trust you all are having a wonderful day. Today, we have a very interesting topic, which is digital disruption, the role of technology in revolutionizing the mortgage processes. We'll discuss in detail about the same throughout our webinar. But before that, let me begin by introducing Submit about myself and AI CoreSpot, which is our company to you. I'm Nitin Naveen, Vice President of Innovation and Strategy at AI CoreSpot. With over a couple of decades of experience in different consulting firms specializing in emerging technologies, I feel fortunate to consistently engage with a lot of stakeholders, global leaders, innovators, all those who are driving some positive change in the industry. Joining me today, I have a couple of my colleagues. Arvind is there, and in the back end, we have Naveen, who will be infusing energy into this event. So a big applause to them for their dedication in making efforts to make this gathering a great one. Some facts about AI CoreSpot, which I wanted to bring forward in this forum to all of you. It was founded over 3 years now. It will be closing to 4 years. It is meant to be a source for inspiration in the tech landscape, focusing on emerging technologies such as AI, ML, AR, VR, robotics, IoT, and so on. Our webinars serve as a platform to share the latest advancement in these fields, provide fresh insights every month. As we continue to gain momentum, we aim to be the leading AI-driven community worldwide, fostering collaboration and growth among like-minded individuals. We are committed to curating industry-backed webinars and hybrid events, leveraging insights from key decision makers, which includes the leaders in different companies, the subject matter experts, all our trusted partners, which deliver credible and valuable content to all of you. Additionally, our content is also meticulously crafted across various digital platforms, which include podcasts, videos, blogs, monthly newsletters, which we use to keep our audience informed and engaged. Bringing back the attention to today's webinar, which is a very interesting one, the topic is security meets speed, that is digital mortgages, how the future of home financing is going on. So gear yourself for an enlightening discussion on some practical AI strategies, which will be discussed by our panel members, legal practice versus modern practice, use cases, which are in the future of mortgage industry, scope of Gen AI, and many which will be creating excitement within the scope of banking industry. Our panel of experts is poised to share invaluable insights and engage in thought-provoking discussions around the mortgage sector that promises to leave a lasting impact. Before starting the conversation, we would like to extend gratitude to our community partners for today. We have 4 great companies, which include Sagent, Infovision, Ali, and NewRails. Their invaluable contributions has been instrumental in making today's webinar possible. And of course, a heartfelt thanks to all our attendees. Your presence and participation are deeply appreciated. As we embark on this journey together, our primary goal is to equip you with valuable insights and facilitate meaningful connections. That means whether you walk away with some innovative ideas or get new connections, your engagement is a testament to our collective success. So without further delay, let me introduce our esteemed speakers for today's session. Our first esteemed speaker is Erica Sands. She is Senior Director, Product Management at Sagent. Our second esteemed speaker is Ilan Parisevel. He is Senior Director, Advanced Business Analytics and Acting Chief Data and Analytics Officer for Consumer Lending Credit Card at Ali. Our third esteemed speaker is Deepak Wiz, who is Senior Vice President, Enterprise Architecture and Software Engineering at NewRails. And our fourth esteemed speaker and moderator for today's event is Brett Fish, who is Associate Vice President, Handling Banking Financial at Infovision. Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The views expressed by all our speakers are their personal ones and it not necessarily reflect of their existing organizations. Let me hand over the stage to Brett to begin this exciting panel discussion. Over to you, Brett.
Thank you, Nitin. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Panelists, again, thank you for joining this morning, and attendees, thank you for participating. I think you're in for a good ride here across digital disruption and the role that technologies using and revolutionizing the mortgage processes. So why don't we jump right in? And Erica, if I can, I'll start with you. what are the ways to create a particular AI strategy while balancing operational exceptions? How do you bring in the AI stack into your organization? What are some of the use cases companies can look at and use as they're looking at jumping into this revolutionizing journey?
I think the first step is to understand AI. So really look into what are the capabilities, what are the existing products in the market. The best way to do this is to create a small team within your organization that their focus is looking at what AI tools are available. Is your goal to augment operational processes within your org? Or when you dig into use cases, should you build an AI tool for a specific need? One of the ways to identify the right use cases for your company is to pick an area where you'd like to explore if Gen AI could enhance the process or a product user experience. Identify that team that'll drive the research of the opportunities, whether those are for efficiency, transformation, or changing the consumer experience. And then once you've identified those specific use cases for your organization, do that next of build versus buy analysis. So do the use cases you want solve for what's already in an existing product, or is that a tool you have to build and potentially bring to market?
Absolutely. I love the idea of the team, right? Everyone's kind of got their day job. So if you're trying to tackle this with, existing team members and those team members, I'm assuming need to be part of that team and providing input. But if you're not really carving out a team who can spend some time really understanding this, I think you can kind of get wrapped around the axle a little bit and get frustrated on where do we start? Why is it not working? And just trying to understand all the noise that is out there, because there is a lot to consume. And to your point, what are the best use cases? Where do you start? Those types of things. So thank you for that. Deepak, Alon, anything to add from your perspective?
No, I agree with Derek actually. So this is actually the use case identification is a big process, and generally I've seen that in the AI space our minds go pretty big on within quick minutes we can find so many use cases. But the critical thing is actually you find out the pieces which is biggest bang for the buck and focus on those. So don't try to boil the ocean, don't try to bring everything into the mix. Look at the biggest opportunities and focus on those.
Yeah, I agree with both of them, right? I think especially with the AI, setting up a team, looking at the use cases, what is the best ROI can do? Because it's kind of boiling the ocean right now. We don't know what all use cases we can do. I think everything can be done by AI, but I think what is the return, right? And how soon we can do that. I think that will be a great one. Thanks, Erika.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Deepak, maybe we can shift to you for a second, because, as you've kind of go down this journey, there's definitely be challenges that come up. And so how do you approach the challenges of integrating legacy systems with modern AI-driven platforms in the mortgage industry specifically? Let's kind of dive deep into that.
Yeah, sure. So legacy systems actually is a reality of our life. I mean, whether we build it ourselves, custom applications, or we have purchased something off the shelf and we customize it ourselves. So like it is there. Everybody has to deal with the fact. Now, these legacy applications really bring a challenge of coming to the new, latest and greatest tech. The approach that I've seen successful over and over is I call it a sidecar approach. What it means is that you keep your legacy system over there, but then you build a system in parallel, and because it's modern, you hook it up to you can have APIs, you can have cloud, you can have all those in AI and every greatest tech over there, and since the evolution of APIs, it is a lot more easier now to integrate two things together. Right? We have greatest pub sub models available out there, very robust, trustworthy. So the approach that I've seen successful over the years is you put this new system in place in parallel to the other one, and you start incrementally migrating over to the new app. And again, we talked about before as well, you don't have to boil the ocean. You don't want everything to be converted. So follow the 80-20 rule. Whatever is more important, just do that and start giving your business the benefit sooner than later. So that's the That's the approach I've taken.
No, absolutely. Great perspective. Anything else to add to that? Any other challenges you guys might be seeing?
So yeah, I think as Deepak said, right, I think it's a boiling the ocean is the key when it comes to taking on AI. Because all the companies wants to be in AI. So we wanted to have this tag of AI, but what is the best use case and what is the ROI as well as the benefits, what you are trying to give the customers. I think that is where alignment comes, what use case I can take and start working on.
No, absolutely. Elon, maybe if we can stick with you, let's talk a little bit about competition and emerging technologies. What emerging technologies are likely to have a significant impact on the mortgage industry in the coming years? What are we seeing in the future? And then everyone else, I'd like to kind of hear your perspective and weigh in as well. I mean, there's definitely a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of technologies. The mortgage industry historically has been maybe a slow adopter, and probably in some cases for good reason. But again, there is so much out there. So how do you weed through? Where do you start? What do we see? What the future looks like, and what's kind of coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? I think as we are thinking about AI, which is the next revolution in the technology world, there are so many technologies out there before even AI comes. It's part of AI. It's a subset of AI. You name it, like machine learning, NLP, natural language processing, AR, augmented reality, Internet of Things, even the blockchain and biometrics. See, there are so much out there. If you wanted to talk a little bit more detail about each and every technology, say machine learning, this is a subset of AI. It's always there for last 40, 50 years. It's how we are currently using in every industry, especially in banking, all the models we are using machine learning. So what it does, it can process the large amount of data sets. It can find a pattern human might miss. So we cannot implement direct everything to be a machine learning AI because the human has to be in the loop. Right now, that's the governance model. But identifying the pattern, this can be done using machine learning easily than just doing it yourself. I think this is one of the key technology will revolutionize the industry, which is still doing it. Then take the NLP, right? Natural language processing. It allows computer to understand, interpret the human language. It can be used for tasks like processing loan applications, analyzing legal documents, and providing customer support through chatbots. You think, right? Right now, it's all manual, which is a challenge for consumers. So once you process the NLPs using these AI technology, the models currently what is available, the chatbots will be revolutionizing for the consumers, right? Because right now, think about when you wanted to buy a home, how much it's challenging task. It's not that easy to find what you need, what you don't need, right? So if something is out there, I don't want to talk to a mortgage lender, I don't want to talk to a realtor, but I wanted to find information myself. So this will be a key one for the future, in my opinion. And again, AR, augmented reality, I think again it's still not there, but it's out there. But think about when I wanted to buy a home. If I can put my VR and find out where I'm going to buy, what I'm going to look at it, using this AR, if I can see everything before I even make a decision or I go to a property physically, this will be a great one for everybody, right? It's gaining the time for consumers, and I see all of the things before even I go to the physical location what I wanted to buy. Even if you are buying somewhere outside of your zone, because I live in Bay Area, if I wanted to buy a home in East Coast, so this comes in handy.
Yeah.
And again, the
Some of
Internet
that
of Things.
travel, right, gives you an opportunity maybe to see stuff through virtual reality inside the home,
Yeah.
around the area, versus having to maybe make a couple trips or spend a bunch of time or a weekend there trying to rush through that process. That makes sense.
Yeah, exactly right. I think it takes time to develop. I think it's not there out yet, but I think this will be one of the key change or emerging technology, which I'm seeing myself. It'll be a great one. And again, the blockchain, right? I think about what blockchain can do. The transactions recording, transparent and secure way of doing transaction. But I'm not sure how much is going to do in the recent future. But this is one of the key one I'm looking after. And again, the biometrics, right? Biometric authentication, such as fingerprint or facial recognition, can improve security and reduce fraud in the mortgage industry. See, mortgage industry is a huge volume of data. I think definitely these technologies is going to help us improve efficiencies, reducing cost, and enhancing the customer experience, which is the key. If you give the customer that experience, I think it's this. That's when the technology, what you're using, it's meaningful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And blockchain seems like an ideal fit in the title space, especially with the chain of custody through title as properties changed hands or whatnot, et cetera. So yeah, there's a lot of great technologies out there. It feels like they're being consumed in pockets across players within the mortgage space, but maybe not being consumed across the board by everybody as much as maybe they are in other industries. Erica or Deepak, anything to kind of add to that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I to go back to your talking about chatbots, I think there's opportunity there for it to be leveraged for more than just directly to the consumer. So Sagent's building technology for the mortgage servicing operator, which has a lot of complex processes, a lot of domain expertise involved in their tasks that ultimately support the consumer. And I think that's one of the ways that emerging technology can be used to benefit more than just the consumer. That's a breadth of knowledge that can be put into a language model that can be accessed by your staff so that while they're on the phone with the consumer, chatting with them for things that maybe your chatbot couldn't support, it gives them the learnings and the user guides to be able to facilitate those communications in a more detailed way. So I definitely agree with you there that the the initial adoption will be a chatbot that you can expose to your consumer and have those initial questions answered. But then I think there's future use cases for how do you use this to augment and support your operational personnel to really provide those detailed instructions and help that they need in doing their daily tasks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and that's actually a key point. So companies who are getting into this whole AI space, right, and directly going to customer, it might not be the best idea. And I would recommend try it out with your internal agents and your staff first, and learn from those things, which is more controlled, and it also still gives a big benefit to those. And second, I would say on the mortgage side, we all know that mortgage is behind on this evolution in general in technologies. What's the average age of a loan officer today? Like I think in close to 50 or something. So you can imagine, like, we the staff in mortgage is not the youngest, and but AI is already kind of triggering the thoughts, and I've seen that people are a lot more attractive to this technology compared to the blockchains and those kind of things, right? So it is here to stay.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of manual processes, right, that can benefit from technologies and make staffs more effective and efficient. So Deepak, maybe let's pivot to that, right? I think to the earlier comment, there's definitely adoption in pockets. There's probably not adoption across the entire industry like there is in other industries. So what advice would you give to mortgage companies looking to adopt AI or even other advanced technologies to stay competitive? I think at some point, and maybe we're there, you're going to have to start adopting some of these technologies to stay competitive with where the industry is going.
Yeah, sure. So uh, there's a lot of things that AI touches, right? So like we use the term AI very loosely. It can mean so many different things to different people. But if we look at from a macro perspective, I think the what we have learned from Amazons and Teslas and Ubers, customer is the king. So I think if you keep customer at the core, at the center, and build system around it, it will be a win-win for both the consumer as well as the organization. Now, there is all different functional areas in the organization that can help to get to that better customer experience. It is a journey. It's not a once and done thing. I can talk about different areas where I see that even though there are pockets of these tools coming up, but you can see that the tools are still helping very focused on to how, and ultimately it helps the actual consumer. So even if you talk about software engineering, we have tool like GitHub Copilot. You would imagine that, okay, what's gonna it's gonna do for the consumer, but no, if it saves time for a developer 30-40%, but that's what data suggests, right? You can spend that much time on better quality, better product, better experience, right? So that's just indirect how you can help the customer. Now you come to the back office. Back office can help a ton. Customers, in our industry, customers call a lot. Customer need somebody, a human, to hold their hand. And now with AI, and I'm already seeing that that's happening. Customers, all the millennials and all the Gen Z and all the Gen Z we have, they do not want to talk to people, but still in our industry they have to talk to people. So how do you avoid that, eliminate that, in a way that you don't, again, change everything day one, but you can make very significant changes. Like, for example, one of the use cases that I've seen successful now is contact center. So when customer calls, agent is on the call, and agent's half time is going towards taking notes. Something that machine can do a lot better than a human. Right? So no need to invest, human time on that one. Just convert to something AI. A Gen AI can do a better job over there. That's just one use case where customer, and ultimately customers can get off the call faster, so you spend less. And number two, customer is happy because you listen to the customer. You listen to the problem and fix the problem. That's more important. Other thing that I'm seeing is customers communicate over emails, and it takes us time to get to that email and respond to it. Now AI can do a lot of stuff and can recommend an answer, pre-compiled answer, and you can review it. You can do it faster. You have your email based plugins. You can apply those. Like, there is so much you can do from all these different functional areas, which can ultimately help the consumer. And then at the end, you make consumer self-service themselves. So give them, as Alan was saying, give them chatbot, give them voice AI, give them those tools by which they can connect with you when and where they want to connect with you. They don't have to call you during their lunch hour or whatever. They can call you from the, they can touch base with you, at 10 o'clock in the night if that's comfortable for them. So look at those things, and I think it's a win-win for both mortgage company as well as the consumer.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks, Deepak. Thanks for those examples. Alana, Erica, anything to add to that? Any advice you'd give?
Not advice, but I definitely agree with your comment about understanding the customer, and that the upcoming generations, and as a millennial, I can totally see this. We don't want to talk to people. So a lot of people, a lot of people think that like moving operational things to self-serve, like a chatbot, like moving it to the customer is trying to create that efficiency internally, but it also is trying to meet what the customer wants. They want self-serve. They want to be able to figure out on their own and only have to contact and speak to a person when they've hit a block and they actually need that help. So that's a great point of self-serve is not just to create efficiency, but to meet what the customer is expecting in these upcoming generations and the ways they interact.
Hey, let's maybe dive into that a little bit. What is your guys' thoughts or opinions on, we serve all different types of customers, right? So do you need a single solution that hopefully solves for all of that, right? Or are you seeing, or how do you address maybe say the older customer who does want to talk to somebody versus the younger customer who doesn't? So is that a two-pronged approach where you've got to be able to serve for both? Or are you trying to fit one or the other into another box? Let's maybe chat on that, discuss that a little bit, get your guys' thoughts.
I think it's a multi-pronged approach. Go ahead, Deepak.
Yeah. I was saying the same thing. I don't think it's like a one solution problem. There will be a long time before we completely come into the full tech. You have to give people options, and sometimes even let's say I'm comfortable with the digital way of communicating, but there are times when I want to talk to somebody. So give both the options to me, and I'll pick. Right, definitely help me to lean towards more digital. But if I don't want to do that for whatever reason, I should be able to get to the human. factor, which is a touch. So yep, Erika, so good.
Erica, did you have anything to add to that? I think you were going down the same road Deepak was.
No, exact same path. You got to have multiple entry points specifically with customer service to meet the wide variety of customers you're serving. Now, if you have a very niche product and you have a very specific customer, then maybe you can choose the one approach that fits them best. But if you have a much wider customer base and you're trying to fit those different types of personas, then you definitely want to have the different options.
Absolutely.
I think the future is going to be more personalized solutions, right? It's rather than right now, if you look at the mortgage industry, it's my opinion, it's one size fits all. I talk to a different lender, different company. I think it's almost the same process. But I think the future is there for a personalized services. That's what I'm thinking. More and more technologies comes into play. AI comes into play. I think it's going to be maybe the age or something like that, right? So it's going to be more personalized services the future.
Absolutely. Let's maybe shift gears a little bit and go to Gen AI, one of the bigger buzzwords out there these days. Erica, if I can, let's talk a little bit about what can you do with Gen AI in your organization and what are some of the crossovers between digital transformational projects, mainframe applications to APIs, leveraging Gen AI and that implementation, et cetera. Let's kind of touch a little bit and kind of pivot to that for a bit.
I think considering Gen AI for your organization and digital transformation projects are the same pattern. So when making the decision to take a legacy mainframe application and move it into the cloud, implement API microservice architecture, you're going back to the start and trying to read through documents, read through code, and figure out how it was built and how you make it better. And I think you run through the same process when you start to think, how can Gen AI help create more efficient operations? How can it do something new for me? So I think they're a very similar pattern. And instead of just figuring out how to put it on a modern tech stack, you take that legacy process that's in a mainframe technology and figure out how can I use AI and not just modernize it, but then make it more efficient and use those tools. One of the ways that I think Gen AI could be used within organization and within products is work queue prioritization. So by using those algorithms and data analytics, like Elon said, like data is the basis of pretty much everything we do. You can optimize task allocation, so ensuring the most efficient use of resources and minimizing wait times for your users in your organization by allocating that work through factors and attributes instead of manual allocation through a person like most do today.
Absolutely. That's great. Deepak, Elon, anything to add to that? It definitely, I think, to your earlier point too, Erica, right? Whether it's Gen AI, it's any other kind of technology, right? It's starting with, hey, what works for us? How do we create a small team within the environment to make sure that we're handling these technologies the right way, getting the best value out of them, and taking a strategic approach as opposed to just hoping that we deploy this technology and it solves all of our problems.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Deepak, did you have something to add?
I was saying on Erika's point, but I mean, one thing that I'm seeing where it's adding value is we have so many policy documents, procedure documents, and other processes that we built over the years, and nobody knows how to find the information, but we do still find the information somehow.
A lot of times, a lot of that's in somebody's head, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so I've seen that a great success actually, where Gen AI can, not really Gen AI, but the full RAG pattern can get into those docs and bring the information the way you want it. And it's pretty impressive how much time it can save you, literally like minutes some time. And especially if you have customer on the call and you are scrambling to get to that information, it's a bigger bang, for the buck. So I've seen that as success, big time.
No, absolutely. Yeah, as was mentioned before, right? The mortgage industry, very highly regulated, very data and document heavy, right? And then not only through the process, but then also from a policy and procedure perspective, right? And a lot of times, depending on the maturity of the organization, maybe there aren't certain policies or documents created. It's in somebody's head, or when there are policy documents, it's tough to keep those up to date with changes, right? I think people do the best they can, but then because things are changing so quickly and there's so many variables, there's definitely technologies out there that can help you, not only stay on top of that, but then also extract what is important out of those documents for the individual, right? So that they aren't having to continue to refer back to these long, lengthy documents that have maybe a lot of legal and compliance jargon in them too, that especially for somebody new coming in the industry may not fully understand. So good points. All right, let's maybe drill down a little further. Let's get into some of the processes within the mortgage process. Ilana, if I can switch to you, what are some of the key benefits the digital mortgage processing, what are we seeing? What kind of key benefits are there from the digital mortgage process for the consumer?
Yeah, it's another great questions, right? It's, as Deepak said, consumer is the king, right? So
Yeah.
I always look at what benefits I can give to the consumers. Yeah, I understand the processes, internal processes, all those things, but what benefit I can give to the consumers. So definitely the digital mortgage process is going to be a big win for consumers. Say example, faster approvals, digital applications and automated underwriting can significantly speed up the approval process, allowing borrowers to close on their loans more quickly. Right now, the closing time for a mortgage, it takes like maybe 30 days, minimum 30 days or 25 to 30 days. But right now you have all the information, right, in digital world. Why can't it be faster? So that is one of the key thing, I think, as we are getting into this, creating this platform, AI and digital processes, I think that time will definitely shrink for the consumers and lower costs. So, right, so as soon as you think about digital processes and trying to reduce the time, it's always going to bring down your cost. Cost of operations, mortgage lending. This, see, you can also, once you start looking at the savings, the interest rate can be lower for consumers, right? So you can give back to the consumers as well. And convenience, right? It's all about convenience. The digital, instead of looking at all the paper documents. Right now, you think about it, right? When you go to the when you are buying a home, going through a mortgage process, it's tedious process because you're looking at a lot of papers, a lot of documents. You don't even read through any of them, right? You just you go to the attorney office, you just sign. You don't even understand what it is, right? So the digital platform can be very savvy for consumers to understand. It's a transparent and it's a time saving. It's a convenience. Yeah, again, I talked about the transparency. As I initially said, it's a personalized service, right? So this, if you start looking at the processes the digital way, why can't I do a personalized service for consumers? As the consumer comes in, I understand their needs, I understand the consumer from their borrowing capacity, all of those things, right? I understand their data. I can do a personalized service for them. So that will be one of the key win for the when you change the processes into digital. And again, as I said, the improved customer experience. Once consumer seeing the benefit, I think we can buy more homes, right? Instead of, okay, I'm done with one. I think the processes, the consumer sees the benefit. Right now, even if I think when I'm planning to buy a home, oh, I have to go through this process. That's what first comes through. You talk to realtor, you talk to lender, so many things, right? So many middlemen in the way. It makes the process challenging. So, but when the digital, as right now, the new generation does not want to be looking at the papers, everything in mobile. So as you convert your process into digital, I think you are going to attract more and more consumers. At the same time, you are giving the benefit. It's going to save cost for the company, and you can give back to this to the consumer. So those are the things I'm thinking as a consumer benefits using this digital processes.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point, right? Even if you're a consumer who's gone through this process multiple times, your first reaction is, oh, this is going to be painful. There's a lot of documents I got to collect and pull together. And your experience in the first time may be much different than the second, third, or fourth time, right? Maybe something on your end as a consumer has changed. Maybe regulation within the mortgage industry has changed, which now makes that experience for you different, that second or third time, right? So it is tough. I don't think there's a simple answer, right? The best you can do is leverage technologies. I think the other thing too, the bigger thing is education, right? And setting expectations upfront with the customer from day one around, hey, you may have experienced one thing before, but just know that there's an ever-changing landscape. Your situation may have changed. The industry's regulations may have changed. So you may experience a different process than you do before. But how can we try to get out of our own way and eliminate some of the things that that kind of just trip us up? I think sometimes it's just maybe a lack of communication or education that makes that process a little more painful for the consumer. A lot of times that you can get in front of a lot of those things if there's better communication, whether that's self-service or on the phone talking to somebody, right? To kind of make that a better process. I don't know that it's ever going to get to a point where it's as easy as getting a auto loan or one of the easier lending products, right? That just is what it is. But how can we continue to make it a better experience for the consumer, which then should drive down turn times, should reduce costs, which then I think benefits everybody.
Yeah, agreed. Yes, yeah.
Deepak, we talked about some challenges earlier, more around legacy technologies and integrating those into systems, etc. What other challenges can be faced when integrating AI or even just digital solutions into mortgage systems? How do you overcome some of those challenges? Let's maybe dive into that a little bit.
Sure. So you're calling them challenges, but I'll call them the stages to get to where you have to get to. So
I like that.
Challenge is probably a little bit harder word on that. So and this comes from the experience of like doing this like at least 2 or 3 times in the last 1 year. But basically, there is a framework that we should follow. In my opinion, which is the putting AI into an organization is a major decision. So, and that decision, if it is happening just within a team, it's not going to fly. So we should start from the top. The top of the house has to buy in that, yes, we want to invest in this one. And these days, nobody can say no to it, I guess. It has to be there. And when you have that buy-in, it makes the journey a little bit easier. And you get to the next step of, okay, now I want to do it. What do I want to do? So now you go to your partners and you basically sit with them, talk to them, understand the daily life, and you'll find out that there are many use cases that can be take benefit of AI. But not every use case has to be dealt with. So that's another key that people jump into. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. But if you stretch thin, you probably cannot do much. So focus on the biggest return on value, and where your business, ultimately the consumer, can get the benefit of it. So focus on those. So now you have the what, but it solves only 20% of the problem. So the next stage in the process is now you figure out how you're going to do it. And as we all know, getting AI developers in the market today is not an easy job. It takes months and time to get a right person on board, right? So you need to plan out, like you want to do internal trainings, you want to bring some people from inside who know the culture, who know the environment, who know the systems, who know the data. All that things come very, very helpful. But then you want to also bring fresh talent into the mix. So plan out how you want to do your team structure, your talent, right? When you have that, you know what you want to do. The next step, is really the data. And Elan mentioned before, I think data is the key there. You will be surprised when you prepare. You will think that I have everything readily available, but it is not in the same shape and form, and AI needs it. So that itself is a huge, I don't want to call it hurdle, but that's a big problem to solve before you get to the actual, solving the whole thing. So to bring AI into an organization, you have to get through all these things, all these steps, right? Some can be parallel, some can be sequential, but you do not rush into, I'm going to do this one small use case and be done with it. No. If you're bringing AI, you need to see what are you solving for and how you get there. And this whole, once you solve the data problem, I think you've acquired a big win. But then you look at implement it. whatever the use case is. Maybe it's a contact center, maybe something else with a chatbot. But you will be surprised to see that the AI, the way it gives you the results, it's not always readily available to be consumed. There's a lot of testing required over there. So do not undermine the testing for AI systems. It's a very heavy effort. It's not traditional software engineering QA practices, right? So, and luckily we are in a world where a lot of these things can be automated. So you can have automation testing on AI as well. So invest in those kind of tools. There are frameworks available out there. You can consume those. Now you have testing done. You launch your use case. We cannot go home yet. Basically, I mean, that's the reality. If you go home, nobody's going to use it. Basically, so you stay with your actual customer, whether it's internal or external. You give them an option to give you the feedback, and the feedback has to be systematic. You cannot go talk to people all day long. You have to have that feedback coming in so you can improve your AI on top of it. So when you do that, and repeat this process, these steps can get you to the journey where you can say, yes, I have AI in the organization, and I'm using it for X, Y, Z, whatever. And then you can repeat this over and over again.
No, thank you for that. That's a great job of laying that out. It's definitely a journey for sure.
Yeah.
I see we've got a couple of questions coming in from the audience, so let's shift gears over to that. And I'll just open these questions up to you guys, and feel free to jump in on these if you've got an opinion here. So how are digital IDs and biometrics making the mortgage application process easier and more secure? Anyone want to take that one, or any thoughts or views on that?
Yeah, so I'm thinking right now, I don't know how much we are using these biometrics and digital IDs yet in the mortgage processes. Maybe Erica can chime in. But definitely it's going to make your life easier, right? Because every time, if right now, if you see, when I did my mortgage process, they'll be sending a secure link. You have to log in. They will give you a different ID and password, and you log in, and then you upload the documents. That's the process. But when it goes to the biometrics and digital IDs you can have, I think it's going to make your life easier rather than I will have one more password and user ID. This is going to be helpful. Right now, when we were initially, when iPhone came out, everybody was talking about, oh, we don't want to use our biometric and things. But right now, it's a norm, right? You have to have a facial recognition or even using the fingerprint. So right now, consumers are adapting to it. I think this will change the way we are doing the processes in the future.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a couple people in the space already kind of contemplating the consumer being in control of their ID online and creating that digital ID, not just of their like, what's your address and your birth date and things you'd put on an application, but kind of your whole identity and creating that as a token and then being able to share that with people. I think it's a great idea because, as you say, Elon, you have to kind of re-enter every time you enter a new space, create a new login, and you have to remember 50 passwords. And so I definitely think that it's an emerging technology and it's there, and there's a few people in the space doing it, mostly on the origination side. One of the things I have talked about with prior colleagues is in the servicing space specifically, when someone transfers your loan, you kind of have to restart. You create a new login, you give them all your new information, you have to reset up your ACH. So also providing this like centralized place that when a servicer transfers your loan, you just provide them your token or your digital ID, and you don't have to redo that process every time just because they've decided to sell your loan to a new investor.
Well, that's a great point. Even on the origination side, right? All of the information, as long as nothing's changed, right? Or if you keep that digital ID updated, right, with anything that's maybe changed, then now it makes that process for applying for a new loan much easier, as well as to your point, Erica, when that gets transferred over, you're not providing that information again and again. Even HOAs, I've noticed recently, right? HOAs seem to be changing hands pretty regularly. And so now you're not only, switching hands with HOA, but now you're again going in, I got to reset up, ACH. I've got to create a whole new other account for this new HOA. Most of them I've seen are not moving everything over. There are a couple I've seen moving everything over with the new homeowners association, but no, it's a great point. I think I would agree. I've seen some early adoption. It's definitely not being used by a lot just yet, but hopefully that's something that folks will start to use more and get some traction, and we can leverage some of that for a better customer experience, whether it's on the origination side, the services side, etc. I think there's definitely huge value there, and it makes it less cumbersome for the consumer, and we don't get that, oh, hey, this is going to be pain in the butt, but I've got to go through the process. I've got no other choice. There's another question here too around fintechs, and there's definitely been a lot of fintech companies that have popped up, which I think has been great. But again, I think it makes it difficult for originators, servicers, et cetera, to say, who's out there? How do I consume them? Who's the best fit for me? Where should I use a fintech company, or where should I, potentially maybe build some things myself relative to what some of those fintechs solve for? So the question is, how are new fintech companies using tech to challenge traditional mortgage lenders? And what can big players learn from some of these fintech companies? Anyone have some thoughts on that?
I can take that one. So, fintech companies, we see that their general, lineage is towards B2C. So what they would do, they will probably try to attract the customer directly and make their journey easier. I think that's we're seeing that already. But in mortgage, we all know we have a tremendous opportunity to improve the experience, right? We use that digital ID and the biometric and the wallet that will come when it comes. But I think before that, even for me to apply for a loan application, and I have to punch in all the data every time, and I have to give all these employment verifications and all the stuff every time, it's just not an experience, right? So these companies are gonna disrupt all those areas where I come to the platform and I use my biometric to just authenticate, and I give you the docs. And now you figure out, within minutes, all my information, basically, and then prepare the app for me, and I should be able to submit it immediately. So I should be giving you less and less and less. Or if I give you something one time, that information should be the only time I give you that information. And you take it from there, whether you OCR it or whatever you want to do. But that goes toward the underwriting. Underwriting makes a decision, do an e-close, and you're good to go. So that's what I would say overall fintech companies would go towards, to make that whole experience easier and faster and less cycle time. I think that's what we'll see. And banks can actually learn from that and try to implement some of those things, within their products.
Yeah. Absolutely. Very good. Good. Let's maybe drill down into some use cases. And Erica, if I can turn to you to start, where are the AI use cases within mortgage specifically that we should be thinking about?
Yeah, I think there's opportunity with pretty much every stage of the mortgage life cycle. We've already touched a couple times on this industry is a little bit slower to adopt technology, mostly because of legacy processes. We're highly regulated, so you have to implement technology that still meets the regulatory criteria. The other thing is that a lot of mortgage technology with both lenders and servicers, they're using a variety of like in-house or point solutions. They had a problem, they went and did we'll build to solve for this problem, or we'll buy this specific product. So it's kind of this combination of things that they're weaving together to perform a process. One of the originations use cases is you could use AI in your point of sale through lead identification. So this is identifying your ideal customer for your product, and then using the data you learn from applications to funding of, did your ideal customer at the beginning meet the person that actually came in, performed an application, and ended up being approved for the loan and funding. So you can start with your model of like who I want to bring in, and then use that data once they actually close the loan to reteach that model so that you're constantly having the best leads identified. Another use case in mortgage could be used post close. So using AI for post close reviews. A lot of the times in the mortgage industry, we have redundant processes because we look at the same data multiple times in the loan life cycle, at originations, at closing, at investor delivery, when it's in the servicing portfolio. So being able to leverage AI for those points in the process, and then also for modeling your portfolio for performance analytics and things to kind of hedge your risk once you have the loan in your servicing portfolio. So pretty much the wide range of from the first intake of a customer to servicing a loan inside a portfolio. I think there's opportunities at every stage to have a use case for AI.
Absolutely. No, great examples. Thank you for that. Deepak, Elon, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think whatever Eric, I agree with Eric. So especially it's a regulated industry. It's a challenging to bring in any new things because it's a black box. We don't want to have any black box when we do any processes, especially in the financial industry. So I think that's where the challenges are, and you have to find a use case to fit in that. So that I think I agree with her.
Yeah, Elon, on that point, maybe let's talk a little bit more about how it's streamlining the mortgage application and the underwriting process, and just kind of share some views with the group in that area as well.
Yeah, as I said, right, I think why this financial industries, especially mortgage or any lending, we can't have black box underwriting strategy cannot be a black box, right? When regulator comes and then we need to explain in and out of what is your model is doing, what is the outcome, how do you make a decision when you decline any applications. You need to know why you are declining. There are a lot of decline reasons codes you have to provide. So that's one of the reason adopting a new technology or even AI in underwriting is going to be a challenge. But it doesn't mean we can't leverage it, because right now everybody is talking AI plus human in the loop, right? But there are key processes, or we can simplify using AI. One is the first one I think about is the automated document verification. So right now there are plenty of documents to be reviewed when we go for a mortgage application, right? Think about pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns, et cetera, et cetera. There are so many of the documentations you have to go through. But I think using this AI or this latest models you can use to identify, verify the documents. So this is going to reduce a lot of manual labors. I think right now a lot of companies have a lot of companies already have some processes in place to reduce this work. But I think AI can definitely help to reduce and speed up the process, application process. And the risk assessment, right? AI algorithms can assess a borrower risk profile more accurately by analyzing vast amount of data. Right now, data is huge. Identifying the pattern is the key right now. So you can understand the risk profile of the consumers using latest AI technologies. But again, you are not going to make a decision based on just complete AI. There is a human in the loop. When you run the model, you understand the risk, where you wanted to play, why you are making a decision. I think all should be explainable. But reading all the data, including your credit history, income, debt to income ratio, and the property value, all things can be automated in certain extent than what the current processes are today. And again, one of the key advantage I think the industry is seeing is the fraud detection, right? I think AI can identify potential fraudulent activities by detecting anomalies and inconsistencies in the application data. Because fraud is the biggest thing in the consumer lending industry. Using these latest technologies, especially AI, to identify the fraud anomalies, finding the pattern is the key, right? So you can identify finding the pattern, and again, human in the loop to review all those things before making any decisions. And as I said earlier, the personalized loan recommendations, right? Sitting with all of this data, right now, you can make personalized decision using AI. You understand your borrower specific needs and financial situation. This can provide a tailored approach of, okay, what is the rate, what is the borrower's, where you stand with the limit, what I can lend you. This can be a very personalized solution when started using this AI technologies. And again, I think we talked about chatbot and virtual assistants, right? As soon as I have any questions, I don't need to call somebody, I don't need to email. I can go to a chatbot or virtual assistant. At least I can get information what I need quickly. And underwriting decisions, automations, right? So this is still evolving. how much I can use AI for underwriting. Yeah, there are machine learning models out there already. I think all the industry is using right now, but whether you can do end-to-end underwriting using this AI, we are not there yet, but I think eventually we will be there. I guess once we understand the regulation of AI, we will be there. I think these are the tasks I'm thinking our AI can be leveraged to reduce cost, speed up the process, giving consumer a benefit, or at least we can provide consumer, hey, this is not a complicated process. This is still, you can do it. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. No, thank you for those examples. I think a lot of times going into it, maybe at least operationally, people feel like these technologies are going to take their jobs away, which in reality, it's the complete opposite, right? At the end of the day, it's going to make them more effective and efficient. We're never going to get rid of the processor. We're never going to get rid of the underwriter, right? Decisions still going to get made. Right? These roles don't go away. It just changes the role in which they play, and even on into servicing, right? And how that affects the roles of those individuals. They're really just tools to make the processes more effective and efficient, make you more effective and efficient. To your point, try to eliminate and identify fraud, right? And reduce risk for everybody, which then should drive down the cost and create a better customer experience overall. On that note, Deepak, maybe I know we've touched on this a little bit, so I wanted to come back to you and see if you had anything else to add around kind of just AI, the customer experience, how it affects, loan processing, turn times, customer satisfaction, anything else to add to that? I know we've touched on it a little bit earlier, but just wanted to come back to you one last time on that and see if you had anything else to add there.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, we have covered a lot of actually things before already, but see, at the end of the day, it is still the customer. I think that's the message that I definitely want to give. Like, customer is at the center. But from a use case perspective, where it can help the customer, I basically divide this whole AI, the loosely called term AI, into two different buckets. Like, one is our newest and greatest Gen AI that we all call AI. That's one bucket of the use cases that we should be separating it out, because that's a little bit easier to implement in a way. Because there are APIs available, there is platforms available, you can just start leveraging it immediately. And then there is the forecasting type of which is machine learning. So you should split what you're working on into two different buckets and see which fits where, and what gives you the biggest benefit, right? And now I don't know whether you guys saw the data from CoreLogic recently. They did a survey, and they found out the customers are unhappy about the email that we send them all day long. And one of the requests, I think 40% plus people actually recommended that do not send me any email. I don't want to hear from you, because I'm not eligible for refi. I'm not interested in refi. Why are you sending me this, right? So the propensity that we have is not the best. We have to accept it. Now, that's one of the big use case. I think we can literally, like, back to Ilan's point, like, be personal to the customer. Like, you should know their financial situation, and is it really worth hitting that customer at this point, or maybe just wait for a few months and then you'll have a better outcome. So that's one use case. We should and marketing can take a lot of benefits from that kind of use case. Just because it's cheap
you got to know what's going on, right? At the end of the day, you can't be blasting a customer or a customer base who's sitting at a low interest rate when rates are at where they're at today, and be like, hey, you want to refi? Well, no, I why would I? I'm at 3.5.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, right. Don't bombard those emails, right? And second use case, that is like wire frauds. That's a reality of our life. It happens with every lending organization or financial institution. So invest in that. Machine learning can help you bunch over there. And again, contact centers and condition management. You want to communicate with your customer in a much more friendly and simple terms. Do not give them the jargon that our Fannie Freddie just gives us. That's for us, not for them. So use AI to better communicate with the customer. So it's simple, and they can give you what you need from them. Again, take their inquiries faster and better. Give them voice AI, like those kind of things. And the last one is that I've seen AI is helping a lot is, Ilan and Erika both touched on that one, is the document piece. I think document management is a low-hanging fruit for market industry right now. Like we do not handle our documents to the level we need to. Once the document is in, you know a bunch about that customer. So grab the data, grab the information, keep it with you, use it for that transaction, but keep it there for forever, and connect it to your other systems basically. So an AI can help in all of this stuff. When I say AI, I mean AI and ML together. So
Very good. Thank you for that. We haven't touched much on compliance. I'm going to open this up to the entire group and let you guys kind of weigh in on it. But obviously, with these new technologies coming in and automation and processes and different things, how do we continue to maintain regulatory compliance when implementing some of these new tools? Anyone want to open that up for debate?
Yeah, I can take it up. Yeah, I can. Brett, I think it's I don't know whether we have an answer for this. Especially you take about AI, right? Regulations. Nobody knows. Right now, there is no guardrails about AI. There is nothing we know of. Oh, we can't do this. Okay, I usually think about an example, or somebody has to do it. They have to all face the consequences. Then we will build the guardrails. Some big player has to start with the process, and there is some consequences you will see. Then only I think you can do these guardrails. Right now, everybody is very cautious. We can't. Okay, I can just create a code using Gen AI. I can implement it, but nobody wants to do it because we don't know what's going to happen, right? So we can develop all those things, but until there is a regulation comes into play and you know exactly what the consequences are, I don't think we can make a decision. But somebody is going to do it. They'll pay for it. Then the industry will know. Maybe this is my opinion, but I think all the teams are trying to build these regulations, governance framework around AI. But right now, I don't know anybody knows what we can't do and what we can do.
So you want
okay. I'll add a couple of things actually to it. Yeah. You go ahead, Elika. I'll go after you.
I was just gonna say you want someone else to be the canary, and then you can take their learnings and do your own strategy.
So the approach that we have taken, and I think when the word compliance for AI and security, for AI comes, but I've seen people actually thinking about rebuilding from scratch. I think that's a wrong approach, in my opinion. It's my opinion only. We have strong, security and compliance foundation already in our organization. In every organization, we have it. A lot of those building blocks that you already have can be reused. You have to put a layer on top of it, which AI brings to the table. So, we always had the data security, a SOC 2, and other compliance needs, no matter what. We already had that. So this AI is, first of all, how are you set up? You have to see that. If you, Microsoft and AWS and Google's and Meta and all those, they're investing millions of dollars, if not billions, into this into this problem statement. They are making you make it easier for you to implement those compliance policies, easier than you can think. And they're also working with regulators, right? So if you use one of those platforms, it is you get the job done 60-70% already. Now there is a responsibility you have to take care for sure. It's not that they take care for everything, but you can leverage that expertise and use their systems and set up your guidelines, whatever, and then you can go from there. And that's what they call it, explainable AI or responsible AI and all those fancy words. But under the hood, what the thing saying is, I got your data covered. Your data is your data. It's not going outside the boundary of whatever you set up. So follow those guidelines. I think you'll be better off. At least you have something to start with. And second, what I've seen generally is, there are some things which are table stakes. So authentications and multi-factor and instrumentations and loggings and data encryption, like those things, nobody should be telling us. This is by get-go. So with combining those two things and your foundation you already have, we can do something.
Mhm.
Yep, nope. Thank you for that. Good. I know we're coming up on the time, and again, I appreciate you guys taking the time out today. It's been great discussion. Maybe before we wrap up, is there any last parting comments, thoughts, anything else you guys want to throw out there that maybe we haven't touched on or just want to close with?
I think it's an exciting time. It is, in technology, we have been here like for many years, but I would say this is probably one of the most exciting time when we can make real changes and add a lot to what we provide already. And our experience in the industry is very valuable for that. We know this industry, we know what the customer need, we know what our people need, internal people need. And with all these tools in our hand, if we apply it properly, we can make a real disruption. So, and if any organization who doesn't invest in technology, in AI, in next 3 or 4 years, they will be left behind. So there is no for this.
Mhm. I think the key is to choose and invest wisely. If you look at the wide landscape of AI and all the things you could do versus focusing on the specific use within your organization and what your focus for your consumer is, it can be very overwhelming. So I think it's small steps towards adopting an AI strategy, identifying what that strategy is based on your specific consumer and your specific org, and then taking the steps to do that. It can be something as simple as your first step is putting Copilot in Teams for your team to use to reduce cognitive load during meetings. And that's step one of your strategy so that you understand AI. And then you can move forward to all the really cool things that we've talked about that you can do with it. So it's not looking at the huge big mountain to climb, but breaking it down into how do I want to adopt it specifically. And I think Deepak, as you mentioned, the 80-20 rule, where are the places I'm going to get the best return on my investment, either through efficiency or revenue, and focus on those for your organization.
Yes, definitely. I agree with both of them, right? You put the customer first, and then think about all the processes in place, and then what is the biggest ROI you can get out of the processes or technologies, what you're trying to use, instead of going and taking out everything. Hey, I'm going to change the entire organization into AI. It's not the way. I think, as Deepak and Eric are saying, 80-20. The way to go, what is your ROI, and put the customer obsession, right? So if and more personalized services, that's my thought.
Absolutely. Well, Erica, Deepak, Elon, thank you again for your time. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us today and getting into the discussion around digital disruption and the role that the technology plays in revolutionizing the mortgage processes. So thank you.
Yeah,
Nitin, back
definitely.
over
Thank
to
you
you.
for
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Big thank goes to all our speakers as well, Erica, Deepak, Elan, for your insightful contributions to this discussion on the digital disruption, the role of technology in revolutionizing mortgage processes. Thanks a lot for coming together and sharing your thoughts. We extend our gratitude also to Brett for the excellent moderation of today's session. I'm confident that all attendees would have found it to be both engaging and enlightening. As we wrap up this conversation, I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank all our community partners, speakers, attendees for their ongoing support and participation in these webinars over the past 3 years. Your involvement has played a crucial role in creating an environment which is conducive to knowledge sharing and enrichment. The insights shared by all the panel members today were truly exceptional, and we appreciate their collaborative spirit and expertise. For those who have missed any part of today's session or wish to revisit it, the recording will be available on our company's YouTube page for your convenience. Looking ahead, we are excited about the promising technological advancements that lies ahead in the coming months. At AI Core Spot, we have a diverse lineup of events planned across various sectors, which includes the banking, financial insurance, which includes telecom, retail, supply chain, manufacturing. We do a lot of things in healthcare as well, and much more. We encourage all of you to stay connected with us for the ongoing learning opportunities and updates on the latest technological advancements. You can find a wealth of knowledge, including detailed event announcements and registration assistance on our website and different social media channels. Your support is invaluable to us, so please consider liking and sharing our content with your network. A special mention to our partners, InfoVision, who is our knowledge and innovation partner, and Digit7, who is our technology partner, for their unwavering support and collaboration for these webinars. Be sure to explore their websites to dive deep into the world of technological advancements. We thoroughly enjoyed hosting this session along with my colleague Arvind and hope you find it as enriching as we did. We look forward to continuing our journey together and bringing you more insightful sessions in the near future as well. Until then, take care. Thank you once again for your participation and support. Have a great day and nice week ahead. Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.